Okay, anyways, thank you. I'll get it out here in a second. I'm sorry. We're talking about the movie already. I'm starting laughing. Welcome back to the Project Gen X podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alan Smith, along with...
I'm the other guy, Big Dave.
And we're gonna do a sports movie because, well, we like sports movies here. And this is a classic, if ever there was. We are going to do the 1989 movie Major League, and we will talk about the two sequels a little bit. Wow, where to begin with this one?
Jobu.
All right, right off the bat.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun. If you are not aware, if you've not seen this movie or haven't seen it in a long time, you need to understand that Dennis Haysbert, who plays what's his first name? Pedro Serrano is his name.
Pedro Serrano.
He is a Cuban immigrant who's really into voodoo. This is the same guy that played the president in 24.
He was also on The Wire.
And he was on The Wire. But more importantly, he is the Allstate guy that you always like. I told my mom that recently.
The Allstate commercials.
I told my mom that recently. He's like, you know who that is? She's like, well, I was like, that's Serrano. She's like, no, it's not. I'm like, no, that is Serrano.
Screw you, Jobu. I do it myself.
Don't fuck with Jobu. I already went there.
Oh, no.
It's a rated R movie. We'll talk about it.
Oh, no.
Let's get into the cast right off the bat. Okay.
Yes.
You have Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen.
Yes.
Corbin Burnson.
Yep.
You have James Gammon.
Yep.
Who you might not know who that is. He plays Lou. He's got that real raspy
the manager.
voice. You've seen him in 1,000 things. Renee Russo.
This is like one of her first
big roles. Wesley Snipes.
Yep.
Again, one of his first, like, really. This is like pre-White Men Can't Jump and New Jack City and stuff that really made him into what he would become.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. I'm trying to think who else is. Of course, you've got Dennis Haysbert, Bob Uecker.
Yep.
Let's see who else.
Just a bit outside.
That is probably the one. That is one of the two lasting legacies of this movie.
Yes,
the other
it
one
is.
is the X version of Wild Thing.
Yes.
That the whole the Wild Thing, Ricky Vaughn, with him walking out and everything.
And I love X. I've actually seen X live.
Yeah.
The record shop that I'm always talking about, it's up close to my house. They posted online on Facebook that they had a copy of Los Angeles on vinyl.
Nice.
And it's a second pressing, and it is now in my collection.
Oh, I'm going to ask how much it cost. So
$24.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's mainly because there was it's well loved.
Okay,
it's
that's
well
fine.
loved.
And believe me, when it comes to vinyl, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
And when it comes to collecting vinyl, I'm collecting to listen to it, not to leave it in the sleeve.
I have recently purchased some more vinyl. Yeah, I know. I can't stay away. I can't quit you.
I still have your record player.
I know. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and talk about the soundtrack here a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it is, of course, we have Wild Thing by X. Lyle Lovett has a song, Crying Shame. There's a band called The Snakes. I'm not real familiar with them. There's one called Beckett.
They had a couple singles out.
They don't have... They don't have the listing for who did this one, but I don't remember who it was. Randy Newman has a song. That's like the first thing you hear when you...
It's about when
Burn On. It's about the Cuyahoga River catching on fire outside of Cleveland. Because Randy Newman always wrote like really weird stuff. The Lonesome Romeos. James Newton Howard has 2 songs on here: Trial and Error and Pennant Fever.
Yeah.
And then probably the outside of X, the biggest, or Lyle Lovett, I guess I should say, the biggest name on here is Bill Medley. He sings that song Most of You, which is kind of the love theme for this, which is odd. When we talk about the music, and we're going to jump to the very end for this, I always thought that this was bizarre that at the end of it, when we're the big celebration and you win the big game and blah 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 blah, and it goes out on a slow song, and it's that song that they're playing, and it's like, that's kind of odd. I don't understand that, But it's cool.
I get it because it was never about the baseball game.
It's true. It was all about Jake and
redemption. It's his redemption story
really
and getting his girlfriend back.
Right. There's one more song on here we're going to talk about, and this is purely for us. And I didn't realize when I looked this up last night, I was like, oh, we're definitely going to talk about this.
Oh, no.
The song Hideaway.
Okay.
By the Beet Farmers.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
The Beet Farmers
song.
are from Nashville.
Yeah, they are.
And so it was kind of one of those like, oh wow, it's kind of neat to see them. You know, that
I had forgotten that they had gotten a song on that soundtrack.
I know, and it's because they had gotten one of those late '80s record deals that they were passing out here amongst some of the rock bands that never went anywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
it was like, yay, one of us got out of Nashville.
I know, exactly, and then they pulled him back in, like they always did. So anyways,
every time I think I'm out.
So Major League, the casting is spot on to begin with, and but we're going to talk about this stuff before we actually get into the movie, because the movie itself, I think, and its sequels deserve a deep dive, I believe, because there's a lot more going on than what you think.
Yeah.
The casting, it's one of those things, of course, Tom Berenger had been around for a while,
yep.
And that kind of stuff. So he was like the big name in this. Like,
yes, he was.
He's, this was, like I said, was one of the first Rene Russo acting things that she had done. And it's funny because starting here and going forward, like this was like the thing that really kind of pushed her into the, oh, hey, we got this ex-model who's actually a decent actress, that we could. We could kind of push,
and she's a redhead,
and she's gorgeous on top of it.
She's a redhead.
I know you and your redheads. You like your crazy, apparently.
I do like my crazy, but as I am a redhead myself, my crazy matches.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
Yeah.
But
you probably should, because Miss Nay will get you for that.
Probably the next biggest name at the time was Corbin Burnson.
Yes. Because he was
L.A. Law.
Yeah, L.A. Law at the moment.
It was huge. L.A. Law was a huge show in the mid and late 80s, Charlie Sheen.
I mean, heck, they were even on Trapper Keepers.
Yeah.
I remember being able to buy a Trapper Keeper with the L.A. Law stuff on it.
Charlie Sheen, of course, by this time had done Platoon. He'd been in. He'd been in some stuff.
Ferris Bueller.
He was in Ferris Bueller. He was in Red Dawn.
Yep.
He was in. I'm trying to think what else at the time. Let's see what the time. I guess I can go and look it up. One of the interesting things about Charlie Sheen that most people don't know is that. He was in Lucas. I forgot about that.
Oh,
that was before this. The Wraith was before this.
Oh, I forgot about The Wraith. That's actually a fun USA Up All Night movie.
It really is. Wall Street and Young Guns were both prior to this.
Okay.
And 8 Men Out also, which I think he's just got kind of a small role in that one.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen 8 Men Out? It's all about the Black Sox scandal.
It's been a very long time.
Yeah,
if I have.
the shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's a good movie. But he did 2 baseball movies here within a year of each other. A lot of people, unless you know much about Charlie Sheen, that was his first. He wanted to play Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
like he played.
He was a pitcher in high school.
He was when he. Found out that when he got this role, he went and started training, and they said that he was throwing like 85 miles an hour.
Well, he topped out at 85 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And in an interview, he talks about how he started doing steroids to beef up so he could do better.
So, but
he was like, "Oh yeah, I did steroids."
Yeah, well, let's be honest. We're talking about Charlie Sheen. Steroids is the least of the problems you have to worry about with the stuff he's done.
That's true.
So basically, we get through all of that. Wesley Snipes. Here's another interesting thing that I heard not all that long ago.
Okay.
Somebody talking about this. Notice that you never really see Wesley Snipes doing much in this movie except for run.
Yeah.
They said the reason that they did that, they had to cut around him because he has no athletic ability whatsoever. Which is funny considering that he was in White Men Can't Jump just a few years after this. I'm sure that but they did. They were like we had to cut all around him of him on the field and stuff. So yeah, we have this really, and for the time, like in the 80s, this was an all-star cast.
Yes,
I mean,
it was.
This is a big deal.
and it was even more so because the Indians sucked.
Oh, they were terrible, and that's the whole thing. The very first thing you see these shots of Cleveland. They're singing, you're singing about the Cuyahoga River catching on fire, and they start showing like all these newspaper headlines about how bad the Cleveland Indians are, like all through the years and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
The funny thing about this is that after this movie came out, the Indians got good all of a sudden.
Well, yeah, because the owners of the Cleveland Indians suddenly went. They just made a movie about how bad we are, and it's a comedy.
Right. So, yeah, basically what had happened, and also something else I learned. Are you familiar with the name Georgia Frontier?
Georgia Frontier, wasn't she the owner of the L.A. Rams?
She was.
St.
Good
Louis?
Good job.
Yeah.
Yes, she was, and she got she got ownership because her husband died, and she wound up inheriting that. She was
like a former showgirl or something.
And they based the Rachel Phelps character off of her.
Of course, now the Rams are back
in LA and this whole thing. She moved the Rams from LA to St. Louis, which is where she was from.
Yeah,
and then now she died several years ago, and the ownership was bought out, and they moved them back to LA.
Yeah,
so
which St. Louis is still hacked about.
Well, they've lost two. Well, it's funny. We're already on our tangent. St. Louis has lost 2 professional football teams.
Most people,
the Cardinals were.
I remember it was a St. Louis Cardinals football team.
I remember when it was a St. Louis Cardinals football team. Then they moved to Arizona.
Yep.
And then, of course, they got the Rams.
Yep.
And then the Rams moved a few years back to L.A. again.
Yep.
But L.A. had lost 2 professional teams as well.
Well, yeah.
Now, the funny thing with that is that Oakland has lost the same team twice.
Yes, they have.
Cleveland lost the Browns at one point, but then they have the Browns again, because they moved to Baltimore. But yeah, L.A. has lost the Raiders twice. Oakland has lost the Raiders twice. To 2 different cities.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. The reason the Raiders are as bad as what they are, and by bad,
Al Davis.
I mean mean.
Oh, no, yeah. Oakland. They're from Oakland.
They're from Oakland. I remember the Raiders being that scary, frightening.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was all kinds
of your children fans.
There was all kinds of
from the Madden era.
Yeah, the players were like that, and the fans, it just translated to the fans. That's, you go back, you look at like Lyle Alzado and different people like that that played for him.
Going to a Raiders game,
it was taking your life in your own hands.
Well, it was like going and visiting the Road Warrior.
Yeah, it really was in a lot of ways. I know it's funny, we're talking about football in the middle of a movie about baseball. But yeah, no, the Cleveland Indians, they've been around for a long time, and again, they weren't good for many, many, many years. They haven't been good. Well, let's see. I guess it was the early 2000s. That was it. 05 that they made it to the World Series and lost, or something like that. It's been in the last 20 years. It's been a while, but they did have a pretty decent run. Oral Hershiser pitched for them and got them to the. I think they actually wound up going to in over like a 10-year period. They wound up in the World Series like 3 times. They lost every time.
Yeah.
But they did make it to the World Series, multiple times. And a lot of people have looked at this movie and like, oh yeah, after this movie, all of a sudden they got good, So basically what happens is that with Rachel Phelps, she inherits this team from her husband who died, and so she wants to move them to Miami.
Because she wants to lay in
the sun.
She
hates Cleveland,
And
so,
she's found an escape clause in the National League because
they've been bad for a long time.
Yeah,
but
if their attendance drops below a certain point,
800,000 total for the entire season.
Yeah, they can actually pick the whole team up and just move it to wherever.
Yes, and this was before there was the Marlins.
Yep.
So this was again, this is there was no team in Miami. So anyway, she's got this plan. So what she does is she basically guts the team and hires a manager which again, I love the reference that Lou has been the manager for the Toledo Mud Hens for years, which if you ever watched MASH, you heard Klinger talk about the Toledo Mud Hens, minor league team. So she wants to hire him as a manager, and they basically let all of their star players go. And they're running through, and all the people who are invited to camp are either over the hill or have never been anywhere, or
there's even the line is like, you want us to invite these people? this guy's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Then scratch him off the
list.
list.
Exactly. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's and when we first meet some of the guys, like Jake is playing in a Mexican league,
Yep.
and he's hungover, and he thinks it's funny because no one believes that it's actually the Indians calling, yeah. And he's like, "Is this who is like? Leave me alone, I'm hungover," So
the scene is he's in bed, he has a sombrero over his face, and there's two different women in the bed with him.
Yeah. Same thing with Lou.
Yeah.
Whenever
Lou's actually at a tire place. He's selling tires.
And he's like, "Let me think about it." Like, you want to think about it? He's like, "Yeah, I've got a rotation. I've got a tire.
I got
rotation.
a guy on the other line that's interested in a set of white wall tires."
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
I'll get to you as soon as I can.
And then they call Ricky Vaughn, and he's like,
"We need you there in six weeks."
He's like,
"I don't think I'm going
to be able to make it because he's in jail."
Yep. Prison.
He's in prison. Yes, he is in prison. There's a difference between prison and jail.
Yeah.
and the different stuff you see this kind of bringing them back.
It's kind of the Replacements kind of get into it where they bring in the one guy from prison.
Yeah. Well,
right back to football.
Well, I think we've talked about this before. The Replacements is basically a pro football version of Necessary Roughness. I mean, those movies are identical.
Yeah,
identical, except one's college football and one's pro football.
Yeah.
So, so it's one of those things where they're bringing everybody in, and of course, and then someone shows up who wasn't even invited to camp, calling himself
Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes, and it's like they're like, I have no idea who this person is. It's just like he kind of talks his.
He wasn't invited.
Yeah,
and they wait until everybody's asleep in the clubhouse,
right, and they take him.
And then the security guards go in and take him, bed and all, off the top bunk,
and they put him outside
out in the parking lot.
So they're running 40s.
Yep.
And he wakes up and sees it and outruns comes from behind to outrun the guys that are that are running.
Yeah.
That are actually running the 40.
Lou looks at his partner and goes, "Get him
a jersey. Yeah.
Get him a uniform.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you got all these misfits. You've got we find out about Serrano.
Yep.
Immigrated from Cuba for religious freedom. You've got what was the pitcher's name? He was over the hill.
Eddie.
Was it Eddie?
Eddie.
Yeah, you got Eddie.
Who's the devout Christian who's reading Hustler on the airplane.
And it's one of those things where he's talking to Ricky later.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What's all that?" And he's like, "Oh, this is," he's like, "What? This has been gay. This is," I got,
this has been gay. This is Vaseline. This is
Vagisil. Yeah, he goes, and if the umps start asking me questions, I just rub a little jalapeno in my nose, and then I can get snot and use it. He's like, "You put snot on baseball?" He goes, "One day you will too."
It's like, at my age, I take every advantage I can, and you will too.
Yeah. So he's the over the hill pitcher,
washed up pitcher.
Yeah. And just some real characters. I mean, just some real characters all the way around.
Yeah.
So and the whole thing with Jake is that apparently he had been on the roster before.
Yeah.
But he's had problems. He's a catcher, and he's had problems with his knees, which happens to a lot of catchers.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of them. And so he knows this is my last shot.
Well, they even make a reference like, well, this guy's not bad. You know,
we should have had him 2 years ago. We did.
He's
like, well, we should have had him 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it is kind of one of those.
They don't even remember that he was on the team.
Right. And Lou even comes around to him later and says, "Hey, can you make the throw to second base? Because I need somebody on this team that's going to be a leader on the field." Oh, we also forgot about Roger Dorn.
Oh, yeah.
This is Corbin Burnson's character. He comes in
shortstop.
Yeah, he's a third base.
Is he
he
third
plays
base?
Third base. Yeah,
he's shortstop.
But the thing is that he's not over the hill, but his love for baseball is not as great as his love for money these days. He's not playing baseball for baseball any longer.
He had the good contract,
right.
And he invested well.
Right, and so he is more concerned about saving his money, and his body and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things, he's not, if there's a ball that's hit down that he has a stretch for, he's trying to just throw his glove out and catch it without putting his body and sacrificing his body and that kind of stuff.
He's a shortstop. He is a shortstop.
No, he plays third base. Yeah, he's at third base. Go look it up.
I'm going to look it up because I think he's a shortstop.
Now, he plays third base. And so it's and of course he likes to razz the rookies. Of course, so he like goes after Ricky right off the bat, and starts making fun of him and stuff. And there's some real tension between the two of them. So, sorry, I need some more coffee there. So we gotta get into it, and of course Jake kind of takes Ricky under his wing, and he's kind of trying to show him the rope, as well as as Willie Mays Hayes. And they're out to dinner one night, and he sees someone. And are you still looking it up?
Keep going. Keep talking.
I'm telling you, he's a third baseman, because that's the whole thing. Like at the end of it, he comes walking from third base, and he makes the snag between third and short, and gets the throw out at first. Remember? Anyway,
we'll find this.
I know. So he, anyways, so Jake sees Rene Russo's character, who is Lynn Wells.
Yes.
And she's on a date. He thinks, so he goes and
goes to the bar and calls her from the bar,
and say, hey, so they go and say, hey, you've got a phone call. And he's talking to her, and she's like, how did you know? And he's kind of talking about, this is where, I took you, or that's where I took you after you got your master's, and blah, blah, blah.
You had this great black dress.
Yeah, and then she looks over and sees him, and so it's one of those things. They haven't seen each other in a while, and we find out over the course of this, it's kind of one of those things that they were together for apparently a long time. Yeah. And she was an ex-athlete. She was an alternate on the 1980 swimming Olympic team. Yeah. And she was in the 200 and
200 medley.
I'm sorry, 200 medley. And but it's one of those things. She's dating this guy, and apparently they're engaged. So, but of course, Jake is not dissuaded. He's like, no, I got to win her back, because she was the one, And let's talk about that for a minute, because I remember this is the first time I'd seen the movie in quite a while, and I remembered there being more to that story than there actually is.
There's not a whole lot.
There's really not. They have this exchange, and then he's trying to find out where she lives. And so he follows her home one night, where he thinks is home, and it come to find out it's actually her fiance's place, and he walks in on a party, and there's a whole lot that happens there. And then he later on he sees her at a game, and so he follows her to her real home, and they wind up having sex that night, and everything. Yeah. And then he goes after a long road trip, he goes to see her again, and she's gone. She's moved out, she's moved in with the guy. Yeah. And then we don't see her again till the end of the movie, when they're celebrating, and she's there, and she shows him that she doesn't have the ring, and that's it. It's like they're together from there on. And it's one of those things where it's actually the two of them together. I thought were a really good combination. Tom Berenger and Rene Russo, because they definitely had chemistry on screen, and they looked like a believable couple. So many times in movies you see that we're like, there's no way.
But they had chemistry.
But they were like, no, I would put these two. I could see them being together. This is Rick.
It never really gives.
He played third base. Believe me,
I think
I've seen them. I've seen the movie enough times.
All right, somebody let us know.
Because that's the thing. When they're taking batting practice at the first, whenever they're fielding the balls and stuff, he keeps throwing his glove out. He's playing up. He's not playing back like a shortstop does. And he, instead of laying out for the ball that's coming to him, he just keeps trying to reach for it, and it keeps getting through both of them because of it. Because the other guy is not actually.
You might be right.
The shortstop's not backing up like he should. I played baseball and softball for years, so it's one of those things. I was the king of backup. Somebody's going for the ball, if I'm playing left field or something, and it's hit to center field, or in softball to left center. I'm back there in case it gets past him, or any
I was
number
a basketball
of
guy. So go ahead.
That's the thing. I thought when I was a kid, I thought I was going to grow up to be a baseball player. I was really into playing baseball.
A little short to be a stormtrooper, aren't you?
Hey, it doesn't matter in baseball, man. If you're short and you're playing baseball, that means your strike zone is small.
Well,
So it's that's baseball is kind of one of those sports that everybody kind of believes that they would have a shot at playing, because it's one of those things. You don't have to be tall, you don't have to be, there's really no body type for baseball. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, of course you have to be athletic, you have to have some ability.
That's not true. What was that? What was basically the softball dad that was pitching for, was it the Brewers for a while?
Oh yeah.
That dude was huge.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. There's really, but yeah, he was huge. But it's like,
what an arm.
There's been plenty of those guys.
He was a closer or something.
Yeah, what was the guy's name?
What was that guy's name?
I know who you're talking about, but I'm talking about like you go back and look at like Fernando Valenzuela. He put on a lot of weight, and I'm not talking about like muscle. You didn't really start seeing like a lot of like jacked baseball players until like the late 80s, and that's when you're talking about like your Jose Cansecos and your
Barry Bonds,
and what's his name? Not Cleveland, St. Louis. Broke the
you're talking about Mark McGwire.
Mark McGwire, he also was at the A's with Canseco. You started seeing those guys all of a
sudden.
Don't you
be bad-mouthing my Cardinals now.
I'm just saying that you started seeing those guys who really started like really, you go back and look at like Babe Ruth. I mean, Babe Ruth was just a big fat guy. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean,
he could swing.
He could swing. And that guy, he also was playing hungover most days. So
it just means he didn't have to limber up for the game.
That era of baseball was completely different than what we know now.
Yeah.
But that was more of the it was all about like pitching and catching and running and hitting type stuff. And so it's like, oh yeah, it's not like basketball where you need to be tall and that kind of stuff, or you'll be able to jump well, or like football where they specialize it down to like, oh well, this is the prototype we want for this position and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it's baseball. I guess that's probably why it's kind of always been thought of as the great American pastime.
Back to the movie the now. The chemistry between.
Well, yeah. So that's a nice. Again, I'll going into watching it last night, I was really looking forward to seeing those moments again because I remembered it even from back watching it in '89 and being like, oh yeah, like this is good. Like this is not only this is a believable love story.
Yeah,
and we really, also find out,
and really this is a two-type movie.
Yes,
this is a passing of the torch movie between Rick's character to the younger guys. And it's a love story.
You're talking about Jake's character.
Jake's character.
Sorry. Yeah, it is. It's and that's the whole thing is that when they're the night before, when he sees her before the opening game, and he's doing he's like, hey, to baseball and to one more, one last day in the sun, type stuff because he knows that this is it.
Yeah.
And so it is, and then you have Ricky and Lily coming up. And Serrano, and those guys. So it's like, okay, this is going to be the next what's happening here.
You basically got the old wash-up guys that are this is their last summer,
right? And same thing with Eddie,
and you got the young guys that are coming up, that hopefully are going to do something,
right? So,
but you've also got that wrapped up in this love story between Jake
and Lynn. And Lynn. So it's really kind of nice that whole, like I said, that whole thing. Now, the one thing with them I want to get to is whenever he goes to the library to her work and they're talking, and he's like, man, we were always so good together. She was like, yeah, we were until I found you. I found you wrapped around a stewardess, or I came home one night and found you in the guest bedroom wrapped around a stewardess, and he was like, I was defending your honor. She said she had a better body than you, and I had to prove her wrong.
Sounds like something you would say. Sounds like something you would say.
It's funny because she's like, I know I have a better body than her.
And at that point, everybody in the library turns around and looks.
It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. Very much not something that I ever actually did, but definitely something that I would have said in a situation like that when I was much younger.
Yeah. I'm calling you out on it.
But the other thing is that with Dorn, he's married also.
Yep.
And he's not faithful either. And this is getting later. Okay, let's get into the story before we get in because this plays into later in the story. So, what's her name? Is it Patty? Rachel Phelps. Yeah, so she's trying to get rid of. So she keeps, she got all these bad, and then they're not losing enough. So she starts taking away stuff like she doesn't, rather than getting a new whirlpool, she keeps fixing the old one, but it keeps breaking, and then she stops letting them fly on.
Turns off the hot water heater.
Turns off the water. Yeah, and then there's also they're not flying on 747s any longer.
They're flying on the old team plane.
Yeah, which is
that's from the 1940s.
Props. Yeah, it's a prop plane, and then she gets rid of that completely, and they're just on a bus.
And they're on the Indians bus.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that she's trying to get them to tank. They're not doing horribly, but they're not doing well. I think at one point they say they were 7 games out of first, you know, and so it's kind of one of those things where they find out what's going on. What's the
general manager?
The general manager comes and talks to Lou, and
tells him
what's going on. So he goes to the guys and he's like, "All right,
this is
what's happening."
Yeah.
And so they're all like, "Oh, screw her. We're going to win this."
They're like, he's like, "This is your only shot because she's going to pick the team up and she's going to move it to Miami, and then every single one of you is fired, and they're going to hire an all-star team."
Yep. And so they decide they got to win the pennant.
At that point, Jake goes, "Well, there's only one thing to do.
Yeah,
we got to win the whole thing."
Right. And so they get behind it, and they go on a big winning streak. And
there was some motivation behind the winning streak too, though.
Oh well, she's an ex showgirl.
Yep.
And so they have this cutout of her that has a leopard
dress
on it.
A skin tight leopard skin dress.
But the thing is that there was however many games is left. There's
33 games.
33 games. And every time they win, they take off a piece of the dress.
Yep.
And when we get down to the last one, and she's standing there, they've got her covered, but she's standing there topless with pasties on.
Yeah.
And she's got there's a little word bubble that says "I hate you guys" or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's so their motivation is all that. Now it comes down to a final game
with the Yankees.
So Dorn's wife is at home watching.
They're on the road,
and she's watching a live from the hotel with them coming back before they come back.
They're celebrating the game.
It's celebrating winning the game and being one game away from winning the pennant.
Right.
And she sees in the background Roger Dorn,
her
husband with a blonde girl, and they leave, and she's like hugging all up on him, and they leave out the back together and everything. So she decides she's gonna get some revenge. Well, Dorn and Ricky have had problems all along. He has hazed
Ricky to no end.
Yes, he just on and on and on.
Yeah.
So she knows that that there's some tension there. So Ricky doesn't know her. So she goes. Ricky finds out that he's not going to pitch in the final game because he's had some problems with the Yankees. They're playing the Yankees. He's had some problems with them, so he's not going to start.
Major problems.
Yeah, he's given up all kinds of runs against them.
Yeah.
So she goes to the hotel and finds him at the bar drinking, and so it's one of those things. She starts hitting on him, and they go back to his place.
Yep.
And a little while later, he wakes up and she's getting dressed, and she's like, "I got to get going. My husband's back in town." And he's like, "Your husband?" She's like, "Yeah." And she introduces herself, as Dorn, and he's like, he gets this look on his face. She's like, "Yeah, my husband's Roger Dorn," and he's just like,
And he's evidently sharing a place with Jake
because she walks out. She's like, "Oh, hey, Jake," and Jake's just like, "What the hell just happened?" And he walks in, and Ricky's sitting inside the bed. He goes, "I didn't know. I didn't know
who she was."
I know. So then we cut to a scene where it shows Roger coming home, and she's sitting there, and he's like, "Oh," I'm getting ready to go to the game, and she's like, "Hey, I need to tell you something." And so when they get to the clubhouse, Jake's walking in with Ricky. He's like, "I think it's best you go ahead and get dressed and go to the bullpen early, so there's not a problem
before he gets here."
And then later, when Dorn does come in, he goes up to Jake. He's like, "Hey, you seen Ricky?" And he's like, "No, why?" He's like, "Well, just tell him I want to talk to him whenever, just very casually. I need to talk to him whenever you get a chance."
Yep.
So it's kind of one of those like, "Oh, okay." Which, let's be honest, it's not Ricky's fault. Okay,
he got used.
He got used, and that's. He didn't know who she was. She didn't disclose that information up front.
No.
And then the only reason she did it later is because she was trying to get back at Dorn.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the only reason. Which I don't blame her because, let's be honest. I mean, You get into the fidelity, yeah, I blame the people, that do that kind of stuff. If you're just going on a strictly like, well, he was out catting around, now
y'all keep it in your pants. You'll be better off.
What they always say, it's
keep it in your pants.
So anyway, they get into the game, and it's come down to the ninth inning.
Yep.
And Eddie is done. I mean, he's wore out. He hasn't got anything left, and
they call Ricky in to be the closer.
They call in Ricky to be the closer. Of course, we get the iconic scene of him like walking out, and they're playing Wild Thing, and everybody's screaming, and and they're singing along, and it's like this big thing. And he walks up, and of course Jake's talking to him, like, "Hey, just take it easy. Let's do that. Let's just take this one pitch at a time, and blah blah blah."
Yeah.
So he's warming up, and then Dorn calls timeout.
And walks
right up there, and Jake's like, "Oh no!" And he walks over. He asks for the ball. Ricky hands it to him, and he sits there. He looks at it. And he goes, "Strike this." I forget. He says something. I think he says, "Strike this motherfucker out," or something like that.
Let's get this done. Strike this dude out.
Yeah, and he hands him the ball back, and walks back to third base,
which gives Ricky all the.
He's like, because he's sitting there like he's gonna pop me. I know he is here in front of everybody. He's like, okay. Okay, I have, as an ex-pitcher, I have a problem with what happens here. Okay. They need one strikeout. They need one out, but they got bases loaded. Okay.
Yeah.
Jake, is giving him the sign for, and he's calling for, I don't know what they're.
It's probably like a changeup or a slider.
It might be a curveball or something. But Ricky keeps like waving off the signals. He wants the fastball, and I'm like, look, dude has been lighting you up all season on this fastball, and it's one of those things. I know they did it for dramatic,
effect.
And he throws the first one and he swings and misses, and it's like 96 miles an hour, or 95 miles an hour, and then so. Jake's like, all right, well, let's do it again, and then he throws the next one, and it's like, was it 97 miles an hour or something like that? I know that in the last one he gets the strikeout, it's 102 miles an hour.
101.
It's 101 miles an hour, which is great and all. If I am managing, I am saying, look, the last thing you want to do is throw the ball right down the middle for a guy that's been lighting you up on that ball for all season long. Okay?
Well, I mean, even on the third one, Lou is over in the dugout going, give it to him, kid.
I know, but it's still one of those things where it's like, okay, you're playing a dangerous game there. Okay, that's just from years of doing that kind of stuff, But they get it. They go over, and then of course it's tied. It's a tie ball game.
Yeah.
And so Willie Mays Hayes comes up first. He beats out a throw to first to get on. Yep. He steals second, and Jake's up to bat.
Yep.
And Jake hurt himself earlier, like he pulled a hamstring, so he doesn't got a whole lot. So he's like basically trying to get.
No, he pulls a hamstring on the way.
No, he pulled it before that.
Did he?
Yeah, they showed that it was like earlier in the evening, like the last at bat that he had. He pulled a hamstring on the way to first. But this is kind of his, like he pretty much knows this could be my last at bat ever. So he does the whole calling a shot.
He does the Babe Ruth call my shot.
But he knows that that's not what he's going to do. It's actually going to bunt because he's trying to. Basically, what he wants is
he calls his shot,
and then they throw at him.
And they throw at him and they hit him.
No, he didn't hit him because it would put him on if they hit him.
Oh, you're right. You're right. And then he looks at Lou and he signals.
No, he had already done that before.
Had he already done that?
Because he knows that. Because what it was.
Because I was thinking he didn't do that until after he threw.
No,
threw
what it was, he got up there first, and then Willie stole second base.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it was on a strike or something. But he stole second base. He got there, and that's when he looks at Lou and he's like,
"Yeah,
hey,
you're right.
Look,
you're right.
I'm going to bunt this, and if he steals, if he takes off, I can bunt this, and there's going to be, there's no outs at this point.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where basically they're going to try to get the easy out at first.
Yeah.
And then it's they can maybe get, they can maybe get the. It's a whole strategy thing. It's when it comes down to baseball. So he calls his shot on the second pitch. and that's when the pitcher throws at him.
Yeah.
And then he gets up, and Bob Uecker is the play-by-play guy here, and he's a character, man. We're going to talk about him and somebody else here in a minute when we get to the after this. So it's one of those things. He gets back up, he calls a shot again, and then the ball comes in and he bunts.
Yep.
Between third and the pitcher's mound, basically, coming back towards the shortstop. But that's in that situation. That's the third baseman's ball to get.
Yeah.
So he goes. It's third baseman gets it, and somehow Jake winds up legging out, getting to first base, but he falls. I mean, it's one of those things. He falls because his hamstring is just done. And Willie, being as fast as he is, rounds third and comes home and beats the tag.
Slides around the tag
and beats the tag, and they win the game. So they won the pennant. They're going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
As they're celebrating, Dorn comes in and grabs Ricky, and they hug, and then he backs off and punches him right in the face.
Knocks him clean
down,
yeah.
and then goes over and picks him up, and they start celebrating again.
Yep.
Because that's kind of the way guys fight, especially in that situation. Yes.
Yep, because Dorn knows the kid just made him a whole lot of money.
Exactly. So it's one of those things, and that's where the movie ends. They made the playoffs. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Two things let's talk about before we move on to the sequels. Have you seen either of the sequels?
I haven't seen them in a very long time.
Have you seen both of them?
I knew I should have watched both of them again.
I wasn't going to, because it's one of those things that really and truly there's no reason to go through them point by point.
No.
But I've seen both of them enough to where we can talk.
I can't.
Okay.
It's been so long since I've seen them, I can't.
So, Bob Uecker.
Yes.
He's the play-by-play guy.
Doyle?
I forget what it was, but that's as Dave said, just a bit outside, which is funny because that has been one of the lasting legacies of this movie that you have heard all kinds of play-by-play guys say ever since.
Oh yeah,
that was coined in 1989, and it's one of those things where he's they start off at the beginning of the season, they're like, oh yeah, they're going to suck again this year, and you see the progression over time. The other one is you see the three fans in the outfield, okay, and they're out there, they've got the drum.
Harry Doyle.
Yeah,
Harry
they've got
Doyle.
the drum, and they're doing all the stuff, and they're kind of little interstitials where they're arguing about, this and that, and blah 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 blah.
What do you mean it's too high?
It's too high. It wasn't too high.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's too high for what? Exactly. Well, it's and then, they're arguing about all this stuff.
Yeah.
When we get into the sequel, okay, we find out that they got swept in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, just like taken apart. Okay.
Yeah.
They come back, and it's one of those things where Jake just can't play anymore, so he moves into an assistant managerial role with Lou. Rene Russo is in one scene in that. Literally, it's one of those things where he's telling her that this whole thing, they're at their apartment or whatever, she's never in it again.
Yep.
Like, they got her back for that one scene or whatever. Wesley Snipes does not return as Willie Mays Hayes. It's Omar Epps playing that role.
Yep.
And he's become a power hitter. And he's been bulking up. He's like, oh, I'm a power hitter now, that kind of stuff. And it's funny because we see him like, he's a power hitter, but he also has a tendency to leave it on the track, on the warning track, rather than getting it over and type stuff. And Ricky Vaughn has changed his image. Now he's gotten this big contract, and he's wearing a suit, and he's no longer he doesn't have the zigzag haircut anymore. He's not ripping the
sleeves
off of everything. Roger Dorn is now part owner of the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
And he's more concerned with like, hey, when are we going to have a Roger Dorn appreciation night, and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Serrano's still around. Eddie retired.
Yep.
I'm trying to think who else. That's pretty much all of the main characters. But in the second, we also have a new catcher. He's a young guy. He's got a lot of potential, but his concentration's a little off. He'll throw the ball to second base, and it'll go like all the way into the center field, or I mean, just like that kind of stuff. And so Jake is kind of mentoring this guy.
So he's the new Wild Thing.
Yeah, it kind of, but he's this real, like he's a hayseed, like he's literally brought up from a farm league, type stuff. And they're like, no, he's got a lot of potential. We just need to figure out how to get him to focus, And I remember Jake, like, he was like, you read Playboy, right? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, do you know the like all the stats on the centerfolds? He's like, oh yeah, Miss June, blah blah blah. I can say, okay, think about that. Focus on that whenever you're getting ready to throw the ball or whatever, rather than the ball going over, worrying about it, whatever. And so that becomes his, like, he's thinking about the stats on these Playboy playmates. That keeps his head focused, so he's not throwing wild. It is what it is. Also in that one, we get a new, and I'm not even going to look it up. We get a new character who is from the Japan League, the Japanese League.
Oh.
And he's an outfielder, and he's crazy. And him and Serrano are like having issues. He keeps talking about how Serrano, he's like, you have no marbles. And it's just this whole thing, where
see, now I might have to go back and watch this thing.
And it's kind of the same thing. They're having, again, what's her name winds up coming in and repurchasing her slate in the whatever, and she still wants them to tank, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They wind up, they're having problems with the Yankees. One of the guys that they had signed in the offseason, they wind up getting rid of him. He goes to the Yankees, and he's causing all kinds of problems for them. And it's a whole, like, them getting past it. Also, we find out that Ricky had a girlfriend that he just kind of like walked out on one day, and so she's back, and it's all about Ricky, like, becoming a Wild Thing again, where he's not worried about his portfolio and, and all that kind of
evidently
junk.
Dorn got a hold of him.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, we see all these characters, When we get to the third one is called, it's Major League 3 Back to the Minors. We only have like 2 returning characters.
I know Ricky's one of them.
No, Ricky's not in it.
Is not Ricky?
Roger Dorn is one of them.
Okay.
He is now he's the owner of the Minnesota Twins, and this is their farm league. This is their minor league team.
Okay.
Scott Bakula is the main character, and he's like a pitcher that's washed up, and he's like, no, I want you to manage the farm league. Like, I want you to manage our minor league, kind of stuff. But Serrano is there. He's like the only one that's there on a regular. Like, he's gone back down to the minors because he's having problems with the curve, that kind of stuff. Ted McGinley is in the movie. He plays the actual manager of the Twins.
Okay.
And basically what he's like, oh, the farm leagues, they're all washed up and blah blah blah, kind of stuff. And it's kind of like this whole thing between the two of them, whatever.
Yeah.
It's an all right sequel. It's not as good as the second one, and it's kind of one of those, like, there was a lot of potential there, but it was just kind of like, I think it kind of feels more like a cash grab than anything. Obviously there's this one guy, he's a pretty good hitter. But all he can do is pull the ball to left field, and it's one of those things. He gets the call up, and of course they pitch around him where he can't hit that way. They keep, Scott Bakula keeps kind of like, no, you need to learn how to hit opposite field or how to do this or that kind of stuff. And he's kind of arrogant and like, well, I can already power one, pulling it to left field and everything. And so it's kind of him going up and then sitting back down to the minors because of his arrogance, and it winds up in this ridiculous, like, Scott Bakula said some stuff about the way the Twins are playing, and so it winds up in this exhibition game between the two, between the Twins and the minor league team, and if he wins, if the minor league team wins, then he gets to be the manager, and if not, then if the Twins win, then he has to, like, resign,
quit altogether,
whatever,
types. Okay.
It's the typical, another one of those, like, completely improbable, movie things that happens,
like a full-on WWE,
a lot
career
of it.
ending,
exactly. It's kind of
deal.
It's all right. At least they did have some, consistency with bringing back Serrano and Dorn, and that kind of stuff.
Jobu.
Yeah, exactly. You're still talking about Jobu, and it's this first one, though, honestly, when it comes to Major League, I think it's one of the better sports movies out there.
I agree.
And you know, I'll put it up there. You know, The Natural obviously is, you know, we were talking about baseball movies. Okay, let's just talk about baseball rather than just sports. You've got The Natural.
That's a good one.
I think 8 Men Out is in this. I know you haven't seen it, but it's really, because it's a serious movie.
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, which also deals with the Shoeless Joe Jackson stuff.
Yes, it does.
You know, I think The Sandlot has to go in there.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that is... The Sandlot was so many of my summer days when I was a kid.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
I mean,
that is totally in the baseball movie Hall of Fame right there.
I'm trying to think some other...
Killing me, Smalls.
I know. There's so many good... I'm trying to think of some other like really good baseball movies. Because I know there are multiple ones out there. I mean, some people think... Bull Durham, you know, is one of them that a lot of people think about, which it's good. I think that movie is less about baseball and more about the love triangle than anything.
League of Their Own.
Oh yeah, how can I forget A League of Their Own? That is,
I mean,
A League of Their Own.
That's a great movie.
A League of Their Own is a good movie, no matter what. I mean, that movie is. Are you crying?
Are you crying?
There's no crying in baseball.
There's no crying in baseball. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, League of Their Own definitely, but Major League is definitely in that top 10.
Yes.
You know, so probably maybe in the top. I don't know. We could go through where everybody. I'll be honest. I like The Natural.
I'd put it at about number 4.
I like The Natural. Like I believe that is a good movie. But have you watched it recently?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I went back and rewatched it. That movie came out in the mid 80s somewhere, you know. And it's one of those things that I went back and watched it.
Wait. There's another one with I can't think of his name right now.
You're talking about Cobb? Have you ever seen that one?
No.
And that one's less about baseball. That's about Ty Cobb.
This is the one about the high school baseball coach.
Oh, you're talking about with Dennis Quaid.
Yes, that movie.
Oh, what's the name of that?
That's a good movie.
Is it The Miracle? I know what we. Yeah, because it's loosely based on that picture that you were talking about. He was a high school coach, and then he actually went and tried out for a team and made the roster.
Yeah,
he pitched for several
suffered
years.
all the way through the minor league thing,
right?
And at the end of the movie, gets called up,
right?
And has his day. That's a great.
There's a couple.
Movie.
Did you ever see Summer Catch?
No,
that one's not too bad. I mean, that's the early 2000s. It's kind of because it's got.
Is that the one about them going to watch Boston?
No. That's you're thinking about
with Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, no. You're thinking about what's the name? It's him and Drew Barrymore.
I refuse to watch that one just on the basics.
It's Boston.
That it's Boston.
No, Summer Catch is the one that's got Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jessica Biel, and it's a whole minor league. He's playing in the minor leagues, you know, and at this
can't stand Boston Red Sox.
Yeah. No, you're thinking. What's the name of that movie? Oh, I can't remember. And it's so funny because they made that movie as the Red Sox won. They were making it as they were actually making a run to win their first championship in 86 years. You know.
Yeah, I know. Who they broke
beat the Cardinals.
They broke the curse on the St. Louis Cardinals, which I will always hate them for.
Well, let's be honest. That 2004, the only reason it's because the Yankees choked. That's the only reason that wound up the way that it did.
Curse the Bambino.
You're up 3-0. All you got to do is win one game and you lose 4 in a row to Boston, of all people. For the mass holes, you know. I mean, it's just like,
wow, you went there.
Yeah, it's
I wasn't going to go that far. I wasn't going to go that far. I wasn't going to involve the entire state there.
Yeah, well,
I was just talking about the Red Sox.
That's what they call them, though. I mean, let's be honest. Outside of Philly, can you think of a worse professional fan base than anything located in or around Boston?
New Jersey Devils.
All right, I'll give you that one. Okay, but seriously, think about it. Patriots, screw those guys, screw those fans, screw that team. Okay.
Yeah.
The Bruins, screw those fans, screw that team. Okay. Red Sox, screw those fans, screw that team.
I'm not going to argue with you on that one.
Celtics, I might give you that
one. Hey, no,
I
you
might
leave the Celtics alone.
I might give you that one.
Larry Bird's one of them.
I know.
They don't call him Larry Legend for nothing.
I'll give you that one. Okay, I'll give you that one. But really and truly, look at all the rest of those other three. Screw that. Screw those teams. Screw those fans.
It's not the town that I have a problem with.
Yeah.
It's that ball club in particular. Because I was a Boston Celtics fan back in the day.
Right.
When
we all love Larry Bird.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Bird and Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale and Danny Ainge and all those guys. You gotta love that 80s.
You want to talk about the originator of trash talking on the court?
Oh yeah, Larry Bird.
Bird was the man.
You go back to into the 60s. When they went on that huge run. When they had
that Atlanta Hawks game where Bird was on fire. He was calling his shots, and he literally looked at one of the dudes and was like, rainbow in the trainer's lap. And he shot the ball. It was a rainbow. It was a three-pointer. He ended up in the trainer's lap. I mean, he was such on fire that game that
I have heard that so many times. The
Atlanta Falcons or Hawks were actually applauding him and cheering for Larry Bird, who was playing against him.
Larry Bird, most people don't know that Larry Bird was a trash talker. I mean, a first-class trash talker.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, just no ifs, ands, buts about it whatsoever.
Well,
he was
Dominique Williams. He flat looked at him and said, "I like you, Rook, but I'm going 40 on you tonight." And Dominique was like, "The only thing I can say about it is he only went 39."
Exactly. Dominic Wilkins.
Sorry. Yeah.
Which is really kind of funny, like, as we're talking about this, the NBA Finals are happening, and it's Phoenix and Milwaukee.
Yeah, but nobody cares.
I know.
Nobody cares about the NBA anymore.
But it's also like one of the worst case scenarios for the NBA to have like those two teams in the finals. Roger. I mean, what's his name? Stern, that used to be the commissioner.
Roger. No.
Is it Roger Stern? Is it right? Yeah, it was Roger Stern. Said it best. Like, I saw him in an interview one time, and they were like, on Sports Center. It was before the season started. It's like, who would you like to see in the finals? And he was like, New York and LA. Like, that's that's obviously you want New York and LA, and the Clippers almost got in this year.
Yeah,
that wasn't the Lakers, but it's
I can't stand NBA now.
No,
I used to watch the NBA during the glory days,
the 80s and 90s. I know, and even the very early 2000s, they were still. Yeah. But by the time like all of those like the I love this game era of people were gone. It just didn't appeal to me any longer. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't care for LeBron James. You
mean Flop James?
Yeah. There's a lot of those guys.
Mr. Big Flop James.
There's a lot of those guys that I just never have cared about.
I am so angry that they are redoing Space Jam with LeBron.
Yeah, I know. That's.
I am so angry.
First off, let's be honest. Space Jam's a terrible movie. Okay,
it is.
Now there's a whole generation of kids that grew up on that movie who were like, "Oh, it's so great." So I was like, "No, go back and watch it. It's terrible."
Yeah.
Okay. And so to make another one and to put LeBron in there, I'm like, no.
If
the only there was going to be somebody
doing
who needed to be, it would have been Kobe. But of course, Kobe can't do it any longer. So I mean,
the only reason they're doing it with him is because LeBron is trying to prove that he's not as good or better than Michael Jordan, and he can't even sit on the same bus.
He is not. I will argue. I've got a cousin who's much younger than me, who is all LeBron. Like, no, dude, that guy, Michael Jordan is. Even though Jordan is one of those things that I always respected Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
I just didn't like the Bulls. Okay,
no.
And because it's one of those things that I was a Pacers fan because I really loved Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
I was a huge Charles Barkley fan.
So everybody
when he was with the Sixers and then when he was the Phoenix, and so it was one of those things. It's like, let's be honest, those two guys do not have rings because of Michael Jordan. That's just
Well, you also had the mailman.
Oh yeah, you have Malone and Stockton. Both.
With the Pistons, you had the Admiral.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, I know. There were a whole bunch of those guys that you go down the line. It's like, oh yeah. I grew up a Lakers fan. The Showtime era.
Yeah.
The Showtime era. It was one of those. Yeah. It's like, I mean, come on, look at that lineup.
Well, you're not wrong.
Magic Johnson, James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I hate the Lakers.
AC Green. I mean,
being a Celtics fan, I hate the Lakers.
But for years, it was one of those two teams that was going to win it. I mean, literally, it was back and forth. But now, at the same time, I wound up becoming a Detroit Pistons fan during the bad boy era because I was like, oh no, these are my guys.
Yeah. Yeah, but that rivalry between Jordan and Bird, I mean, you go back and watch the interviews, even Jordan at this point is like, Bird is a bad man.
I know.
Bird is a bad
Well,
man.
again, it was one of those things that you look at that era, we're on completely different than what we started. You look at that
Well, it's because
era.
we're talking about terrible fan bases, and the Boston Red Sox suck.
I do hate the Red Sox, man. I grew up a Cincinnati Reds fan, so I mean,
get out of here!
I mean, we're talking like big Red Machine era, Johnny Bench and Dave Concepcion and what's his name, Ken Griffey Sr. Those guys. Pete Rose. Those guys. Those are the guys I grew up on. Okay, Johnny Bench used to have that Saturday morning show. Was it Johnny Bench and the Baseball Bunch or what? And it was San Diego Chicken was on it. And it was all that kind of stuff. So that was my team growing up when I was a kid.
See, my team was St. Louis Cardinals.
The Reds, I know, same division. So
that early, early and mid 80s
so
St.
like
Louis
when,
team. I'm talking about when
Ozzie Smith played for him.
No, it wasn't just Ozzie. It was Ozzie and Lonnie.
Oh, I know.
You had Mark Herr.
Yep.
You had the guy that was the home run king there before Mark. Can't remember his name. I'm going to lose it.
I'll be honest, my baseball knowledge is not up to what it used to be. So.
But that whole early to mid 80s World Series Cardinals, that was that's been my team forever. And then Atlanta in the late 80s, Atlanta bought them and moved half of them to Atlanta, and then Atlanta had their World Series teams. Because
I never liked Atlanta Braves. So that was the whole thing too, like with cable television. A lot of people became Atlanta Braves
because
and
of
Chicago
TBS.
Cubs because of
TBS
WGN.
and WGN.
I know, and that's what you would see. I mean, that was like you would turn it. Pre-cable, you only got to see whatever game was on Saturdays, which was usually the Yankees. Let's be honest. If it was a nationally broadcast game, it was usually the Yankees playing somebody. Sometimes you would get local stuff around here. It was Cincinnati because it was the closest. We're kind of halfway between Cincinnati and Atlanta, but the thing is that TBS, because Ted Turner owned the Atlanta Braves, they were exclusive to TBS. So if you were going to get a game that wasn't that was just a regional game, it was going to be Cincinnati, and that's a lot of how I became a Cincinnati Reds fan.
When I moved to town, the only way I could watch the Cardinals play was to tune into WGN every time they played the Cubs.
Right.
I hate the Cubs. I
like the Cubs. Look, going to a game at Wrigley Field is
once I got my car, there was a hill in Hendersonville.
You could pick it up.
That on when
you could pick up the radio broadcast.
When the ionic atmospheric bounce was just right, I could actually pick up KMOX.
Right.
So,
I've
actually been on KMOX twice.
That's another thing. We were talking about baseball. Baseball and radio.
Oh yeah,
go hand in hand.
Oh yeah.
I'll admit, baseball, watching it on television, is just it's boring. Okay, I'll admit it. Okay,
it's okay. I usually end up taking a nap during the game.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a at the ball field guy.
Exactly.
Or the radio.
Exactly. And I was going to say, there is nothing like going to a baseball stadium. Doesn't matter if it's especially minor league. Minor league is a lot of fun because there's always something going on in between, in between innings and stuff. Minor league teams are awesome. Major League Baseball is the same way, where you're like, no, this is how you're supposed to watch baseball.
Yeah.
But there is something about turning the radio on, having the window open.
Yeah.
Or like if you're working outside or something, have the radio on and listening to it while you're doing stuff. That is just, it's something. The only way I know how to, it transports you to a different era.
It does.
It really, there's just something about that.
Those early games, they were only on radio.
Exactly.
And those radio announcers had to be super descriptive and really talk. That's where you got the rise of the color guy.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Because he was giving you the atmosphere.
And Scully. That kind of stuff. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
That's where you the reason that we know him and Harry Carey and people like that is because of their radio.
Joe Buck,
yeah. Jack Buck.
Sorry,
not Joe. Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff where it's like, no, this is. We know these radio broadcasters because of this. Yeah. So yeah, that's I got to listen to some Jack Buck stuff.
Yeah.
At one time before he retired.
Well, what's funny is now, with Predators hockey here in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
They actually do a radio broadcast of the games.
Yeah, I know
and I would almost rather listen to the
or
hockey.
Not Shotzi. What's his name? What's the guy's name that does the?
I don't know, but
Eli Gold did it for a little while.
Yeah.
There you go, Eli Gold.
Yeah.
Or Larry Munson.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
But I've gotten to where if I'm not at the game, I'd almost rather listen to the hockey game.
Yeah.
On the radio.
Yeah. It's a different. Again, hockey is another one of those. You really need to go. I've said this many times. If you say, "Oh, I hate hockey," I'm like, come with me to a game and see how you feel about it, because it's completely different atmosphere.
And by the way, it's not an arena; it's a barn.
Yes,
it's not a jersey; it's a sweater.
Exactly.
I mean, come on, folks! It's not this hard. Get the terminology right.
Especially the fact that we were almost 25 years into having a professional team here in Nashville, which is good. It's one of those things. I knew it would take about 20 years for the people to really embrace hockey around here as a whole, because it takes kids growing up with it.
Yeah. We have high school hockey teams now.
Yes.
Which I really love that. And actually my old high school has a hockey team.
I know.
And at some point I'm going to buy me a Hendersonville hockey sweater.
I've told this story. I played hockey when I was a kid. Right off of the Miracle on Ice happening.
Centennial?
In Centennial. I played at Ice Centennial. I had Sportsplex, Ice Centennial, whatever call it. I couldn't skate. I was 5 years old, 6 years old.
Dude, I couldn't roller skate. No,
I learned to skate on ice.
Skate.
I learned how to skate on ice. And I played one season, and then I started to play a second one, and I broke my thumb. Not playing hockey, I was off ice. And I wound up not playing. And I wish that I had gone back and played. Later, because I remember my parents even being like, "Hey, you want to play this year?" The biggest drawback from that was that our practices were usually at like 7:00 on a Saturday morning.
Yeah,
which meant that we were up. I mean, literally my parents tell a story, and I remember some too of like them waking me up at like 6 a.m. and me literally like them putting my gear on me while I was sleeping on the couch, type stuff, and sleeping on the way there, and then getting on the ice and being there for several hours, and then coming home and going back to bed and taking a nap,
But what I find is, things that I can't do myself, I enjoy watching other people do, because it's still got like a magic to it. It's like, how do they do that?
Oh, I know.
And I discovered hockey when I was still living in Illinois. In fact, being kind of in the middle of the state, I get to pick my sports team. So it was like Chicago Bears, Blackhawk hockey,
right?
St. Louis baseball. And then when I moved down here, I was still Blackhawk. There's no hockey in Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
There's no
Screw
hockey.
Blackhawks. Okay.
Yes, there has been a rivalry born of that.
Yes.
But, I moved down here. It's like, there's no hockey here. There's no hockey here. Somebody introduced me to the Nashville Knights.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, the minor league teams that we have.
The minor league team. And then I would start going to the Nashville Night games.
When I was a kid.
I was like, yeah.
When I was a kid, when I was first, besides, like the Miracle on Ice happening, where I was really introduced to hockey was my dad introduced it to me. My dad went to Vanderbilt, and they had a club team.
Oh, really?
And we used to go and watch them play.
Okay.
And so that was kind of like, there. And then a little later on, Nashville had, before the Knights, they had another minor league team. It was called the South Stars, which was, at the time, it was the North Stars, Minnesota North Stars. Of course, now they're the Dallas Stars now. But that was the farm league for them. And so we used to go and watch them, and they were here for several years. And then they left, and then the Knights came in.
Well, the Predators actually did a throwback jersey that paid homage to that first hockey team. They did it in the colors and the design of the first hockey team.
Was it of which one?
It wasn't the Knights.
It wasn't the Knights, and it probably wasn't the South Stars, because they're actually were the Dixie Flyers.
That's
here,
it. It was
back
the
in
Dixie,
like the 70s.
It was
something.
the Dixie Flyers. That's what it was.
That was before my time, but I do know a little bit of just doing history on.
But the Predators did a throwback jersey that paid homage to the Dixie Flyers, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, so
I wanted one of those, but who can afford $250 a pop?
Yeah, I know. Well, they did what was it? They did a special jersey a few years ago for the Predators, and it was like a St. Patrick's Day. They were in this green, kind of stuff. And I saw them at retail, and again, it was like I can't afford this because they were close to $200 or whatever it was. You know, like that
well,
sucks.
it's always like more than that for me because I'm tent and awning size.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. Actually, getting back to our original subject of Major League here.
Yeah, baseball.
A few years ago, I was walking through Opry Mills Mall.
Sure.
Okay, and I was walking past. I think it was and it wasn't sports seasons. I think it was. I'm not sure if it was Foot Locker, but it was something like it was one of those where they carry a lot of that kind of stuff. Of course, they have like all of the the jerseys up on the wall and stuff. And I looked in, and I saw these different jerseys, that were sitting there, and I noticed there was a 99 Vaughn.
Nice.
And I was like, Ricky Vaughn.
Yes.
So I went in and looked, and they had a Ricky Vaughn.
Nice.
They had a number 33 Polk High Bundy jersey.
Oh, nice.
They had a what's his name? Ray Finkel. I can't remember his number exactly, but the kicker and from they had several but there was somebody who had gotten licensed to do these jerseys of different like fictional characters.
Yeah.
Of all of those, I was really impressed with the Ricky Vaughn, but I really wanted that Al Bundy.
Yeah. Well, I was eating at my local Mexican restaurant up where I'm at, and we were sitting there, and there was a guy standing at the register, and I happened to look up. And it was like 99 Vaughn.
Yeah.
On his T-shirt. I was like, no, it can't be. And he turned around, and sure enough, it was a
Cleveland Indians.
I was like, dude, I love your T-shirt.
Yeah.
And he just kind of looked at me, kept walking.
Yeah.
Like maybe he didn't even know what he was wearing.
It was probably not. I mean,
probably
honestly,
got it at a thrift store.
Could be, but I did. Like I said, I did see. And of course, they were kind of expensive, also.
Yeah.
I mean, they were around the $100 range. But I was just like, that's kind of cool that those are out there. And there were a bunch of other whatever. There was also a Shane Falco. They had a Shane Falco also.
See, I would love to have a Falco. That would be awesome. No, but back before I got married, and I still had some pocket money.
Mm-hmm. We all feel that.
I had actually gone into sports seasons and got me one of the majestic St. Louis Cardinals jerseys, which isn't it's not one of the really nice ones, but it's still a nice And for my birthday, some of my friends chipped in and actually paid to have my name and my number put on the back of it.
Nice. And that's I have several times looked into getting a specialized Titans jersey. They're expensive though. Like they're real expensive to do. But because it's one of those things that like I do love. I mean, I grew up a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm still a Dallas Cowboys fan. Okay.
Well, we can't.
I know. But that was. Again, we're going back to the Landry era. Like we're talking like Randy White and
my
and
dad
Roger
was
Staubach and
my dad was a Cowboys fan. I was being raised a Cowboys fan.
Jones and Tony Dorsett and and all
and
these guys.
When they did what they did to Landry, Dad quit watching football.
So, but it's one of those things with that happening.
Yeah.
Once we got the Titans here, and of course I was really kind of upset because it was the Houston
Oilers.
It's like, screw those guys, But they did rebrand to the Titans, and I thought that was a good let the Oilers be the Oilers, and come here and this is a whole new franchise,
Right.
And it's one of those things where I always that's kind of the growing up in a town that didn't have a professional sports team at all, and then all of a sudden in a matter of a year of 2 years we had two.
Hockey was first.
That's true. We got the Preds in '98, and then we got the Titans. Well, the Oilers started playing here in Nashville in '98. Also, they played at Vanderbilt, but they were the Tennessee Oilers, and nobody went to go see them much because they were kind of bad, But then the first year that they were the Tennessee Titans, when they were actually in their own stadium at the time,
and after they sold all those PSLs,
and all that kind of stuff, and they ran to the Super Bowl the first year they were here. I mean, they went all the way to the Super Bowl, and it was like this town was electric, like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
But it was kind of one of those things where like all of a sudden we had two professional sports teams. And it was like, okay, this is kind of awesome, And so it's one of those things that, like, all right, the home team, blah blah blah.
And now we've got professional soccer.
We got the MLS coming in. Like, we do. Which once they get the stadium done, I want to go to a match. I mean, that's I'll
end up getting drugged to it because Miss Nay loves soccer.
Right.
She was actually manager of both the men's and women's soccer teams at her high school.
Right, and of course we've had the Nashville Sounds, which is a minor league team since the late 70s. Like I remember when the Sounds first played, like going out to Greer Stadium.
I used to go out to
them.
Greer all the time. We would sit probably 10 or 11 rows up right behind home plate, so I could watch the pitching come in.
Yep.
Now I've been to the new stadium.
I still have not. Yeah, I know your story on that one.
And it was the first time I'd been. I'd actually gone with what was going to be my now brother-in-law, and we got the call in the middle of the game that Dad was on his way to the hospital, and we left the stadium, and he was gone before I could get to the hospital. Yeah. So I haven't been able to bring myself to go back to the Sound Stadium because of that.
I understand that. I keep saying I'm going to take my son to a Sounds game because I used to love going to the Sounds games when I was a kid. Man, that was always anytime my dad was like, "Hey, you want to go to Sounds?" Yes, let's go. Let's go. You know?
But it was like for $15, you could sit in the good seats right behind home plate.
I mean, we're going way back to when I was a kid. It was a lot cheaper than that. I mean, it was literally one of those things you go in there for next to nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And I've sat all over that, except for like the box seats, you know, and that kind of stuff.
Oh, you're talking about the actual...
Yeah, I've never been up in one of those.
No, I haven't done
but
that.
I have sat in the old Greer Stadium. I have sat everywhere out there.
I was either home
whether
plate
it was first
or
base, third base,
baseline,
outfield, like wherever it was, behind the plate. I've sat all over that place, and there's really not a bad place to be. You know, that's you know, baseball is one of those things that we've seen a real decline in and I'll be honest, it started in '94.
Yeah.
You're not strike wrong. When the strike happened and they canceled the season, it was 4 years before people really started coming back, and that was when the home run race was going, you know, with Sosa and McGuire. But baseball has never really recovered from that.
No.
I mean, it's just,
and COVID this year has not helped.
Yeah, you know, but it's just, it really did come down to the, and the thing is that other sports have done that as well. The NBA had a lockout in '99, missed half the season. I think they had another one later as well where they only played like half the season. Hockey missed an entire, was it 97 that they didn't play at all or something like that? And there was a lot of people who said this could be the end of hockey.
Thank goodness it wasn't.
Thankfully it hasn't been. They managed to come back, and then they had another lockout years ago or whatever, and they played a truncated season. And it's one of those things that you hate to see that. NFL has come close to it a couple of times where they did in the 80s. They had
that's what the whole replacements thing is based on.
Yeah. Well, they actually had two of those. There was one in '82 and there was one in '87 also.
Well, there was one in '87 I remember where you had the scabs.
Right.
And,
right.
It was just.
And so it's one of those things. Like in 2011, 10 years ago, there was a lockout, but they got the new deal worked out before the season started, and whenever the collective bargaining agreement comes up, there's always talk of another one and this and that. But it's one of those things. I think the NFL knows that if they ever have another one of those situations,
it's
like
over
strike
for 'em.
year or that, and it's because people are already leaving.
They're looking at what's going on with the NBA.
Yeah,
and nobody's watching the NBA.
Dude,
nobody cares.
Now, granted, this was, during these playoffs this year, like in some of the earlier rounds, there were like reruns of shows that were drawing more, more viewers than those games. I do know that because ESPN has the NBA contract, they have Sunday night games.
Yeah.
Before the playoffs, there was a game that barely drew 100,000 viewers.
Yeah.
I mean and it wasn't like, oh, we got two of the worst two of the worst teams in the league. It was like, no, there was like profile people here that nobody was watching it, and it's one of those things that the NBA doesn't watch it. They could not be around. Now the problem is they have these big television deals. and that's what's keeping them afloat. At ESPN.
Yeah, but that's not going to pay rent at the basketball stadiums
it's true,
for long.
So I mean, it's just it is what it is. I mean, people don't, because sports is something you have to watch live.
Yeah.
It just is. So therefore it's not on demand like so much of our other media, movies and all that.
And let's be honest, the generations coming up behind us, they're not watching as much sports as what our generation, the generations before us did.
They're not playing as much sports either.
No. And if they do, it's stuff like soccer.
Right.
Or,
I'm not a huge soccer fan.
I mean,
it's like World Cup comes around, I'm watching it.
I'm kind of
one of those people.
I'm sorry. I want to know when the game's over. When your clock is still climbing.
I know. No, we're in the bonus time. Yeah, I know. It's like
the clock ran out. No, we're in the bonus time.
Right,
this game's going to run for another 2 hours. No,
it's
screw you. I want to know when the game's over.
There are a few things. Hockey. Before the lockout in 97? I think it was 96 or 97.
I don't remember.
No, it was 95. It was the year after baseball. I remember that.
Okay.
They had a contract with Fox, and Fox was trying to make it quote unquote more exciting. So that was when they had like they would put a blue dot on the puck, so it was going around, and then even when they would take a shot, there was a red streak behind it. And it was kind of one of those things. It was cheesy, especially if we're talking about like mid '90s.
But what it was doing was it was training
people to watch where the puck is. And all that kind of stuff.
How's this game played?
Right,
and it was training people how to watch the game.
They have made some more changes in the game since then. Like they got rid of was it the red line, or was it the red line? Yeah, they got rid of the red line. And they made a few changes to the rules here and there to kind of make it a little more television and like, a little more friendly to people. Because let's be honest, if you don't know anything about the rules of hockey, it can be kind of like, what's icing? What's this? What's that? And it's like, okay, this is... And you kind of have to like sit there and explain this to newbies.
Well, that's the reason the Predators did Hockey 101.
Exactly.
For like the first 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. They would... And I have to say this about the Predators. And about a lot of hockey teams, like Tampa Bay just won back-to-back championships. Okay?
Yeah, screw those guys.
I know. Well, hey, at least they beat the Canadians. We did beat Canada at their own game. So
yeah, that's true. USA,
exactly.
USA. Just kidding, guys.
I'll be honest. I was actually kind of pulling for the Canadians because they're one of the original 7. If you know anything about, I know you know, but if you know anything about hockey, there's the original 7, and the Canadians are one of them. And I was kind of like, I'd kind of like to see one of the original 7s, which was one of those things because Tampa went down to Game 7 in the semifinals against the Islanders, and I was like, oh, I'd love to see an Islanders Canadians.
See, I can almost agree with you as long as it's not the friggin' Red Wings.
Oh yeah, no,
screw those guys.
Wings. Believe me, there are. Screw the Red Wings.
Screw the Devils.
Screw the Devils. I have my own reasons for that. And screw the Bruins, like I already said.
Yeah, okay.
Chicago.
Screw
the Blackhawks.
No, hold on. No. Just because we have a rivalry with them doesn't mean that we can't play nice.
Screw the Ducks. Although we did the last 4 times that they made it into the playoffs.
The Bruins, I really don't have one way or the other. I don't care. The Ducks, I don't really care
but
one way or the other.
Here's my big one.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to be nice. Fuck the Penguins. Okay? That is...
I don't like the Penguins.
That is one of those... I
really don't like Crosby.
I do not use the word hate very often. I can use it in pro sports for 2 teams, and they're both Pittsburgh. It's the Penguins and the Steelers. Okay,
I actually don't have a problem with the Steelers.
I know.
In fact,
that goes back.
In fact, one of my Kentucky players, Benny Snell, is playing at Pittsburgh.
Hey,
I enjoy watching Benny
one of my
Snell.
Alabama. They drafted Najee Harris this year. He's going to be their lead running back.
No, you leave.
No. Did you watch Harris play last year? Have you watched him over the last couple of years?
You mean Benny Snell?
No, I'm talking about Najee Harris. They drafted him in the first round this year. He is going to be their lead back. There is no ifs, ands, buts about it. Snell will get his touches. Don't get me wrong. They had one. We're talking about all sports. Pittsburgh had one of the worst. Had one of the. I think they were ranked like number 30 in rushing yards last year. I mean, they were bad. And that was the whole reason that they drafted Najee Harris. You know, he was a Heisman finalist.
Well, you got to put people in front of Snell to get him open.
Well, yeah, I know.
Run.
But I mean, it's just
he had the same problem that Chris Johnson had with the Titans because they figured out that he could run.
Najee is a power. He's a lot like Derrick Henry. I mean, they're kind of that same. Yeah. You know, he was kind of the one that stepped into that Henry role. You know, after he was drafted. So it's one of those things. We'll see what happens. I know we're talking a lot of sports here, so it's
yay sports.
I love sports. I'm so glad the NFL is getting ready to start up again. Like I know we're in that dead period right now. You know, between the last OTAs and whenever training camp starts, and it's like, come on. I know you're not as big on NFL as I am, but I mean, I've got, you know, I'm really into it.
I might watch a game if it's on at the restaurant or something.
Now I'm in front of the television every Sunday watching the Titans play.
I kind of keep up with my Chicago Bears a little bit, which it looks like we may be revamping at quarterback again.
Yeah, you've got what's his name? Dalton.
Yeah.
But they drafted a quarterback this year that was Fields. Is it Justin Fields that they drafted out of Ohio State? That potentially could be a good long term.
It would be nice to actually see the Bears do something again.
Hey, look, we all loved the '85 Bears. Okay,
that was
everybody loved the '85 Bears. I mean, that was just
look at who was on that team.
I know. I mean, come on,
including Jeff Fisher.
Yeah. Well, no, Fisher. Was he actually on the '85 Bears?
He was in the video.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
I don't know about
he is
that.
He is in the Super Bowl Shuffle video.
Hold on. I'm going to look this up because I think we've had this discussion before. And I think that was actually after he had his injury and he wasn't really on the team any longer. Hold up. I could be completely wrong,
but
about that.
I love my Bears. I don't watch the NFL like I used to. In fact, I don't really keep up with any sports other than Kentucky basketball much anymore.
It says, I don't know. I would have to. I'll look
care.
It up. It doesn't
Fisher
matter.
Played for Ditka.
He did play for Ditka, and he was a special teams guy. You know, I mean, that was a.
That's the reason I had no problem cheering for the Titans.
Yeah.
Because it was a proxy Bears cheer. For
I got
me.
you that one, but Jeff Fisher turned out to be a not so great coach.
Jeff Fisher couldn't do what he needed to do because Bud Adams wouldn't let go of the reins.
Jeff Fisher, whether it was here or when he was in St. Louis, and then for about half a season in L.A. before he resigned. And you know the reason he resigned, right? He resigned midway through the season because if he lost one more game, he was going to be the losingest coach of all time in the NFL. Like, had the most losses, you know, of any other coach ever in the NFL.
But yet he was campaigning to take over the Vanderbilt football team after what's his name?
Now, I'm not happy. I'm interested to see what Eddie George is going to do at TSU.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting because you know he's going to put together an all-star. I mean, an all-star staff. I mean, it just...
you want to talk about an all-around nice guy.
Yep, Eddie George is great. I've met him before, and he is
I've run into him a couple times, and he has no problem just stopping and talking to you for a minute.
I know, and it's just like, he's just a normal dude, you know? Anyways, I don't know. We've gone so far off the rails here.
This train
we're into sports talk now.
This train didn't just derail. This thing went off the bridge. So
I'll give you this. We're talking about the 85 Bears. Mike Singletary is a guy that we all love and we all want to see succeed. But I think he's never going to be a good head coach. He's been given so many chances and it just has not worked out. And he's a good coordinator. Let him be a defensive. You know, he learned from one of the best, Buddy Ryan.
Yeah,
I mean that is and him and Buddy Ryan were like tight up to the end. You know, up till the time that the Buddy passed. You know, and Singletary is one of those dudes that I would like to have 4 of those guys playing linebacker for me. You know,
he was one of those guys you did not want to line up across from because he would tear your head off.
Absolutely, but. Nicest guy off the field.
And then laugh at you for doing it.
But the nicest guy off the field.
Yeah.
Soft-spoken, very, articulate and very, you could tell he was a very intelligent person, and that kind of stuff. But on the field, kill you.
That's the thing, is that most people, look at athletes and be like, oh, meathead.
Yeah, whatever.
Dude, those guys have to be brainy to keep up with everything that's going on.
They always say you're the closer you get to the ball, the smarter the guys are. Like, it's like, so your offensive line is usually where you see this, like the truly like smartest people on the field. And it's one of those things, the center being, like I said, the closer you get to the ball.
Yeah.
We've known from experience that you don't have to be smart to play quarterback.
Tom Brady.
Oh, we could go down the line of a
Tom
bunch
Brady.
Of what's his name? That played for the Jets. Mark Sanchez.
Oh.
We can go down the line of a lot of those guys.
Wow. Okay.
But you start looking at offensive linemen, and they're usually like the smartest guys on the field.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the defensive line and the linebackers of like, now you get into the secondary, and sometimes those guys are just they are what they are.
Sharks.
Yeah.
They're sharks.
Exactly. You look, it's like, hey, especially if you're playing free safety, you pretty much have a license to kill somebody. It's what you do.
That's my position.
Yeah.
I want you to go kill the quarterback. I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's especially, hey, wide receivers come across the middle. What are you going to do? We take his head off. Of course, they've changed the rules now to where you can't do that
they've
as much.
They've kind of sissified the NFL.
Yeah, but
that's one thing that irritates me about the NFL is they're cracking down on the fights. You still get an occasional fight, but they're not like they used to be.
No. The best fights besides a hockey fight are baseball fights.
That's not a fight. That's a riot.
Well, yeah. But here's the thing. Okay.
Anytime when
I know
both benches clear,
right,
that's a full-on riot.
Sometimes. Now, here's what. Okay, so I had a coach. He was Gene Manise. Okay, he actually played. He played for the Sounds. Like back, my mom went to high school with him.
Okay.
He played for the Sounds, and he wound up playing for the Tigers for a couple of seasons. He actually made it to the majors.
That's a team that you don't ever hear anything out of, and
because they're Detroit.
Well, I used to enjoy watching the Tigers play. I mean, that was
so. But it's one of those things where like he played a lot of minor league, played a little bit of majors, but mainly minor league stuff. And so like he was one of our coaches at school. He was a baseball coach. He also was assistant baseball coach. And a few things. And Coach Manise, he was talking about baseball fights one day. He taught health class. We were in there. Of course, I was manager for the football team for 3 years, and so it was one of those things. I knew all the coaches and that kind of stuff. And So, but it was one that he was talking about baseball fights, and he's like, here's the deal with a baseball fight, a usual baseball fight. You have two guys in the middle who are actually fighting.
Yeah.
You have a ring of guys around the outside who are pushing each other and talking a lot of junk.
Yeah.
And then you just have everybody else huddled around, just kind of like not really doing much of anything.
Trying to keep the umpires out of the mix.
Yeah,
so
pretty
the fight
much,
can
that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Now, on occasion, you will see a good baseball brawl. I mean, where it's everybody's going at it, and you even get, managers involved sometimes, which is always funny. But, of course, we always got to go back to the, when a pitcher hits somebody, you kind of have. You got to go back to the Nolan Ryan. Oh, what was it? I can't remember the other guy's name now. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember his name. But him rushing the mound, and Nolan Ryan like turning around and getting him in a headlock, and just like beating the crap out of his head.
You want to talk about a bad man? Nolan Ryan
was not to be messed with.
The old man was a bad man.
I know. But then that was the whole thing because oh god, who was that? That's gonna kill me. I can't pull that.
Well, you got that pitcher for the Rockies that killed a bird with a pitch.
Oh, that was Randy Johnson.
That
was Randy Johnson when he was playing. He was in Seattle.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, and that was the oddest thing. That bird just flew. I mean, literally, like it just so happened that bird flew through right as he. And of course, Randy Johnson threw consistently high 90s, low hundreds.
Yeah. And he was like what 6'5"?
He was they called him the big unit for a reason. I mean, because he was a tall dude and just lanky and could throw like a.
Well, by the time he got laid out at his full pitch,
right,
his arm was halfway to the plate anyway.
Robin Ventura. It was Robin Ventura. The funny thing about that is Ventura's a young guy. And he gets hit, and he's talking, and everything, and he's like walking down first base. And no, actually, he didn't. Yeah, he did. He took a couple steps towards first base and then all of a sudden just took off at Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
And Nolan Ryan, again, being the seasoned veteran that he is just like, all right,
fire plug.
Let the young guy expend all this energy. And he put his head down, like tried to tackle him basically. And Nolan Ryan turned his back to him and caught him in a headlock immediately. Now he can do whatever he wants to.
Yep.
And he just starts wailing on him, like just punching him in the face and the head.
Yep.
Like I said, there's nothing better than a good baseball fight. That's although back in the day,
always beware of the old man.
some NBA fights could be interesting.
Every once in a while.
You go back to the 90s, those there was 2 different years in the playoffs where the Knicks and the Heat had bench clearing brawls and people were suspended. And what was so funny is Jeff Van Gundy, who was the coach of who was coaching the Knicks at the time, and he's got a hold of oh God, what's his name? The center for the Knicks. No, it wasn't. It was the center for the Heat. It was I can't believe I can't remember his name now. Anyways, but he's Jeff Van Gundy is like 5'10", I mean, just this little.
He's got a hold of the 7-footer.
He's got a hold of this guy, like trying to. It's so funny looking. It's just.
It's like, get off me, mosquito.
Oh man, that was so funny. Oh God. Anyway, so we've talked about we've been going on way too long about sports, I think. So, Major League. Watch Major League.
I've got to go use the bathroom.
Yeah, watch Major League. It's a great movie. You get to see, you get to see. Now my mind's going completely blank on everybody that's in this movie. You get to see Rene Russo and
Tom Berenger
kind of,
Charlie Sheen.
You get to see Charlie Sheen, and actually you get to see Charlie Sheen, Rene Russo, and Wesley Snipes on the way up.
Yeah.
You just see Tom Berenger when he's kind of like at his peak, type thing. And it's a good story. It's a lot of fun. Even if you don't like baseball, it's a lot of fun because really and truly it's more the off the field stuff than it is on the field. Now,
baseball is kind of secondary to the story.
It really is. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. Go and check out our social media. We have links to everything. Remember, we are now on Discord. Discord is going to be a lot of fun.
Not sure what it is yet, but we're there.
We'll figure it out along the way. I'm sure we'll figure out some way to break it. So, so guys,
or get banned.
Oh well, yeah.
And it'll be your fault.
That's it. Probably
it'll be your fault that we get banned from Discord.
It probably will. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us once again. I am one of your hosts, Alan Smith.
I'm the other guy, Big Dave,
and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Just a bit outside.